the gratitude of the government and people of Nigeria to them for their heroic sacrifices. He also used the opportunity to boost the morale of the troops fighting the Boko Haram insurgency, reassuring them of continued support and assistance of the federal government. 17 officers and 341 soldiers, as well as some members of the civilian JTF group, were present at the event. Hooray! Hooray! From Maiduguri, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The chairman of the Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, President Muhammadu Buhari, is to convene a consultation meeting of Heads of State and Government of the Commission fixed for Thursday, the 29th of November in N'Djamena, Chad. The special advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the one-day meeting will review the security situation in the areas affected by Boko Haram insurgency and adopt measures to enhance the capacity of the multinational joint task force to meet the challenges of securing the areas. Presidents of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, member countries of Chad, Cameroon, Niger, and the Central African Republic, President of Benin Republic, and contributing countries to the multinational joint task force are expected at the meeting. Turning to education now, it's good news for parents and guardians as the Federal Executive Council approved the reduction of examination fees paid by students for SSCE, JAM, and other national examinations. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports on this and other approvals by the Council at its meeting today.
Minister of Education Adamu Adamu says the reduction becomes imperative as the federal government finds no justification for the high cost students are made to pay for the examinations.
From January 2019, JAM fees will reduce from 5,000 to 3,500 for the UTME. For the senior secondary school certificate charged by NECO, it will reduce from 11,350 to 9,850. And for the basic education certificate by NECO, again, it will be reduced from 5,500 to 4,000.
Senior Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the President, Femi Adesina, speaks on the ecological intervention projects approved by the Council.
11 ecological intervention projects were approved at a total sum of 9,600,415,324 naira.
And in response to the decision of the ECOWAS heads of state and government in 2014 to replace the current traveling certificate, Minister of Interior Abdurrahman Dambazo presented an update to the Council on the contractor-financed project expected to cost 14.7 billion naira.
All of this, including the passport we're using and the ECOWAS, all of them will have the NIN number on them. So there is interface between the Immigration Department and NIMSI.
The Ministry of Power Works and Housing secured approval for the construction and rehabilitation of some bridges in the northeast destroyed by insurgents.
The first one is the road between Maiduguri, Dikwa, and Gamboru, which was destroyed by the insurgents. And the second one is at the famous Limankara, which was very, very popular at that time. There's a bridge there that links the road between Maiduguri, Bama, Goza, Hong, Yola. That one was contracted out at the cost of 331.2 billion naira. There's also a bridge in Gombe State that is equally a target of the insurgents and is also being rehabilitated.
The second approval for the ministry was for the furnishing of federal secretariat complexes in Oka, Anambra State, Gozo in Zamfara State, and Yenogwa in Bayelsa State at the cost of 3.48 billion naira. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Now, the shout of Say Baba filled the air as artisans at the Apple Mechanic Village in the FCT poured encomiums on the president for his administration's social investment programs, which they say are having great impact on the lives of the citizens. This was when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo paid a visit to the Mechanic Village to interact with the traders and artisans on the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program. The Vice President says the gesture is part of the federal government's effort to further enlarge its financial inclusion agenda for all Nigerians, irrespective of social class and economic status. Some of the artisans, on behalf of the others, say they have resolved to support the administration and the second-term bid of the president.
Use the opportunity to thank our Excellency for the good gesture, for the plan they have for Nigeria, to move Nigeria forward. Thank you, my Excellency. To know that the traders here are over 40,000 people, and they have endorsed February 2019.
I guess you're hoping for a violent-free 2019 elections. Well, you aren't alone in that direction. When we come back, we'll tell you who else in good company with you and what he's doing about it. Don't go away.
Are you all right?
Hospital, all night. Emergency.
We are losing her, we are losing her.
Don't worry, I'll save her. Driver!
What is wrong with you?
Building burned down.
What?
It was life or death.
He's sent back.
I've got the dog! Hey, Mr. Man, wake up! Yeah! My resignation letter, sir.
Glow Augustin, the unrivaled big boss of data. Get 125% bonus on all data plans. Also enjoy unconditional 25% data bonus non-stop on all auto renewals. Dial *777# to choose a plan.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, Jenny. Can you supply 1,000 bottles of juice by noon?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, bye.
Hello?
One day, I go any store and say I want everything.
Jenny, auntie, please, I need a loan.
One day, anything I want,
hurry up.
Get it times 2. Someday, I'll be living.
Hello?
The number cannot be reached.
Clean that up,
Because I don't get the money, you downgrade me.
Your order is on the way.
Are you an entrepreneur looking for financing to grow a business? I have good news for you. Development Bank of Nigeria now provides sustainable financing through commercial banks, microfinance banks, and other financial institutions with repayment terms of up to 10 years. Please do remember, paying back your loan in good time will give you access to more loans.
Development Bank of Nigeria. Financing sustainable.
How did I get here? It all started shortly after I graduated from MSTC, the Model Skills Training Center, with a certificate in ICT. I successfully developed a data management program that has been called the software of the future. Thanks to its success, everyone wants it. And as you can see, now everyone wants me. But I'm not alone. The skills training programs at MSTC are equipping young Nigerians to become the next big success story. Whether it's ICT, mechatronics, facility technology, electronics and computer networking, or culinary studies, a certificate at MSTC is the way of the future. And just like me,
there he is.
Everyone will want you to.
ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
don't you know? Time that money, so use that well. Don't you know that I will never let you down? Just a little love, just a little giving, shows the love.
Enjoy free 250 MB every week just by recharging on Airtel Recharge Plus. Dial *479# to know more.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Can your milk do this?
Love is boiled sweet stuck to your pockets. Love is a kiss.
Can your milk do this?
Can your milk do this? Mine can.
With Hollandia evaporated milk, your cereals, smoothies, and variation of beverages taste pleasantly different. Hollandia evaporated milk. Life tastes different.
House of Cheese. The Advertising Practitioners Association Abuja Chapter, APAC, invites you to her 2018 Advertising Week Stakeholders Forum.
Theme: patronizing non-professionals in advertising. The cons and cons.
Keynote speaker, Mr. Kelechi Nwosu, MD CEO, TBWA Concept.
Chief host, Mrs. Ijedi Iyoha, Acting Registrar and CEO, APCON. There will also be the APAC Mentoring Program for Youths and APAC Red Tie Dinner and Awards.
Date: Thursday, 29th November 2018. Venue: Hawthorne Suites by Wyndham, 1 Uke Street, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. Time: 9 a.m. Come and learn how professional advertising can make your business boom.
For further inquiries, call 0803-314-5691. APAC. Want to sell it? Advertise it. Advertise it.
It's nice to have you back on News Extra tonight. Now let's talk peace. Yes, it is more than 3 years that major contenders in the 2015 elections demonstrated their supporters that election is all about interests and not a war. This was made possible by a group of like minds who brought candidates from the various political parties for a peace accord. As we count down to the 2019 elections, what are Nigerians expecting from the general and his committee? And who is this peace-loving general? Let's hear from Mie Ogidi.
As part of efforts to ensure a credible elections in 2015, eminent men and women came together and formed a committee called the National Peace Committee. And that committee led to the signing of the famous peace accord among the political parties on the 14th of January 2015. And this committee contributed immensely towards the success of the 2015 general elections. That's wonderful. The warm smiles and exchange of pleasantries by major contenders on that occasion then cannot forget in a hurry. Less than 3 months to the 2019 elections, the committee is back, engaging INEC to know the level of preparations. After about 2 hours of closed-door meeting, while the journalists waited, the chairman of the National Peace Committee, General Abusalami Abubakar, briefed the media.
Areas in the states where he wants the peace committee to intervene in order to bring peace so that election would be conducted. On our part, we'll do the best we can in order to help sanitize the political arena. We are all Nigerians, we see what is happening. All I can say is that we'll sanitize the polity to make sure there are no hate speeches, to make sure there is decent campaign during election, where there will be no name calling.
With this successful deliberation between the INEC and the National Peace Committee, the next step is for the National Peace Committee to engage the various political parties for discussions and subsequent signing of a peace accord. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Memorable moment there. I'm sure that moment will remain indelible in the minds of many, especially peace-loving Nigerians. Now, a lot of the music we listen to and enjoy most of the time is about love or peace. What does that tell us? With the two ingredients, the world will be a better place and we'll all live together happily. I'm sure when the APC constituted its Peace and Reconciliation Committees for the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, it is to ensure that the party enters into the 2019 elections with peace within its ranks. The Committee for the Northeast Zone is said to be walking the talk towards achieving a healing process, while justice is also served to aggrieved members. Joshua Ojito reports on the engagement of the committee with stakeholders in 4 of the 6 states in the zone.
From Bauchi to Yola, which served as venues for the 4 states, the messages of unity, understanding and consensus building keep re-echoing as the committee engages the party faithful. But to ensure justice is done and there is concerted effort to keep it, submissions of aggrieved aspirants, which border on allegation of non-conduct of primary elections in some areas, vote buying among other irregularities, must be heard. In addition, cases of exclusion of some aspirants' name on the ballot papers during the primary election was also made. So far, the committee received 34 petitions from aggrieved aspirants in Bauchi and Gombe states.
I'm a firm believer of the integrity of the leadership of my party. And I believe they are listening to us. We are ready for any reconciliation.
I can assure you, I will have no place to go. I have no alternative to Buhari, and I will remain in the party. I will work for the victory of the president and the party in my state and the country, inshallah.
The engagement continues in Yola as the committee is in Maiduguri on Thursday.
This is not an arbitration, so we are not adjudicating or even pontificating on any of these issues. We are only mediating and finding ways and means of ensuring peace and stability of our party.
When we joined APC because we believe in changing the old ways of doing things in this country. When we choose to join APC, we join APC because we believe we want to contribute for the socio-economic development of our dear nation.
Stakeholders are optimistic that at the end of the exercise, the party will emerge more stronger and united. In Yola, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Now, politics of ideology, issues-based campaigns, and electing credible leaders are re-echoing words during electioneering year. Yes, the 2019 elections are around the corner and the campaigns have started. But how enabling is the political culture to deepen the gains of the nation's founding fathers? Where did Nigeria get it wrong with abusive campaigns, and what is the way out? It's over now to Talatu Ezirike.
Those in favor say yes.
Politics is a game of numbers, language well understood by the key players in canvassing for votes from the electorates who are expected to vote wisely. However, poor understanding of the electoral system, nonchalant attitude and vote buying are challenges.
Lots of promises are made during campaigns, and those promises, for the large part of it, they just float.
I'm hopeful that the awareness of the electorate would check the excesses of the politicians.
Part of the problem is not just the politicians, even the people have now decided that whenever your election cycle comes, it's like that is the only moment that they can get what they can get from the politicians.
All the issues are hate speech, fake news, use of abusive language during campaigns which overheat the polity. These analysts say do not conform with the nation's founding fathers' principles of polities of ideology anchored on national interest.
We like to see parties make references to their party manifestos because that is the social contract between a political party and the Nigerian people.
Any political party that feels that is going to antagonize or bring about hate speech, that party will lose election.
You truly believe in true progressive, and it's all about your track record, what you've achieved.
The general interest is in building a stronger nation through right actions and articulated programs for the betterment of the citizenry. These observers say has been the hallmark of governance in the last 3 years, especially with programs like the 2018 Post-Flood Disaster Implementation Plan to avert a repeat of the 2012 flood disaster and scale up response mechanism.
We need to go to the grassroots. We need to be organizing the town hall meetings, community meetings, and then build resilience among the communities.
Difficult thing is to get people to believe even that there is climate change.
As a government, we are committed to break the cycle of a perennial flood in our system. Identify structures, infrastructures that are in place that could improve our drainage system.
No doubt a well-motivated and empowered citizenry would translate to positive vote. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
Many thanks, Talatu. Now, some people say he is a bridge builder, while others say he is a progressive politician. At the age of 80, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezefe launches 2 books that Emmanuel Ayimiro says are an expose on what Nigeria needs to move forward.
The celebrant, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezefe, a former governor of Anambra State, is known for always striving for a better Nigeria at all levels.
It's a major bridge in terms of handshake across the Niger to those of us in Southwest for fighting for the right of the downtrodden Nigerians.
He was the first governor of the new Anambra State that was created from the old Anambra State. And he led some foundation.
The numbers, I think over 1,000 people here, and the diversity of people from different walks of life, I think attest to the quality of the man we have come here to celebrate.
As an Harvard doctorate degree holder in economics, Dr. Ezefe is not relenting in his effort to contribute towards building the society. As friends and book reviewers say, he always turns every difficulty to opportunity. This time around, his books, Remaking Nigeria with Progressivism, Nigeria Democracy and State of the Economy, are intended to provide guides on how to overcome some of the nation's socio-economic and political challenges. In Abuja, Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Olanipekun Olukoyede as the Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo gives us the details.
Distinguished colleagues,
the Senate at Tuesday's plenary stepped down the consideration of the appointment of Olanipekun Olukoyede as Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as a result of a point of order raised by Senator Issa Misau, member of the committee. When the report was called up again at Wednesday's plenary, the senator, supported by Senator Dino Melaye, again raised a point of order against the consideration.
It is not right for us to just do a shortcut in screening this individual. The rights of the committee members should be given.
Then, by the leave of the Senate, the chairman was mandated to meet committee members for their endorsements and to report to the next legislative day. Mr. President, this was not carried out. Out of courtesy you asked that we'll extend the information to our colleagues. Yesterday, immediately after the sitting, all the reports, we packaged all the reports to their all offices.
After various interventions from Senate leadership, the nominee was eventually confirmed.
So I think at this rate, it's not about the committee any longer. What we need to do at this point, sir, is for the debate, for the report to be discussed, and then you put the question, and everybody will vote the way he wants.
Let's go the whole hog, pass this. If those who don't want this report to pass, based on the recommendations, they can vote and carry the day.
Distinguished colleagues, I think that we must follow the procedure in as much as we want to get consensus on some of these issues, but at the end of the day, we must follow by the procedure. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Olaneko Olukoyede Esquire as Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate passed bills seeking to establish 9 tertiary institutions in various states. Chairman, Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TETFUN, Barau Jibrin, presented the committee's report.
Is to submit the report of the establishment of Federal Polytechnic Cabo. These reports are similar.
Senator Joshua Lidani, representing Gombe South Senatorial District, has defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The Senate observed a minute silence in honor of one of its former members, Senator Ned Owuru from Rivers State, who died on the 20th of October 2018. The Senate set up committees to investigate alleged assassination attempt on Senator Dino Melaye and alleged waste at the Nigerian Customs Service. Those committees have led their report before the Senate. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
Now, what really is the challenge of improving the Nigerian education system? Are there inadequacies in the curriculum? Is it the quality of teachers? And should there be a new approach in funding? These are some of the key questions that dominated Wednesday's plenary, when lawmakers debated a motion by Representative Ayodele Oladimeji seeking reform to Nigeria's tertiary education system. National Assembly correspondent Labi Ali has more on that.
No doubt is one of great concern to the lawmakers as they bed their minds on the state of education in Nigeria from the elementary to the tertiary level.
No nation can rise above the level of the quality of education being given to its youth.
We need a proper educational framework for our country.
The only way we can have different results is to begin to change the way we do things. Some of our youths in the universities are not attracted anymore to learning.
At the end of debate, the House zeroed on 4 resolutions: improve incrementally education budget to 26% in the next 4 years, set up a committee to meet critical stakeholders to come up with solutions, convene an education summit to collate suggestions on the way forward, and lastly, declare a state of emergency on the education sector. 2 other motions adopted are a request by Representative Awaji Nombek calling for the inclusion of Ataba and other Andoni communities in the environmental cleanup in the Niger Delta, as well as Representative Randolph Brown's motion, which urged the Federal Ministry of Works to complete the payment of compensation to those affected in the Bonny Road project in Rivers State.
Non-payment of compensation has stalled work on the Bonny end of the project.
Representative Benjamin Wayu wants the House to urge the police to prosecute suspects over the alleged killing of motorcyclists in Ushungu to avert breakdown of law and order.
Urge the police to carry out full investigation.
In the meantime, the House has passed the Animal Disease Control Bill, which seeks to enhance animal health through prevention and eradication of contagious diseases in animals and other byproducts. Before adjournment of Wednesday's plenary, the House considered and adopted 2 reports, one of which amended some sections of the Interpretation Act to provide that for any person to act in any office, that person must be qualified to hold the substantive position, and the acting must not be beyond 6 months. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The governors of Niger, Kebbi and Edo states were at the World Bank office in Abuja to discuss education-related issues and, in particular, to to draw attention on the need for the World Bank to get involved in the area of funding. The report.
The governors who took time to enumerate some of the challenges faced in the area of education and their states declared that although under the able guidance and support of President Muhammadu Buhari, they have been doing the best they can to redesign and retool education, thereby focusing more on how to improve teacher skills and welfare. The meeting afforded them the opportunity to seek for more collaboration in the area of funding.
We are looking forward. We hope, we expect we will get some support from World Bank, technical or financial or what have you, towards achieving our set objective, which is to improve education in Nigeria.
World Bank Group and other development partners must focus on how we can help states who are doing the best that they could, but there's a significant funding gap.
We're approaching education from two basic angles in Edo State. First, from the foundation level.
World Bank Senior Director on Education and Global Practice believes that in the world today, there is a learning crisis, and that crisis can only be solved if countries like Nigeria can solve her own challenges.
What we have seen here in terms of innovations in design, what we have seen here in terms of political will, it's I think, very, very reassuring.
The World Bank director says it was important to see, in the case of the governors, that there is a political will and a very good understanding of how to go about it.
Coming up next, business and business news stories. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey, can you feel it? Glow is in the air. It's data. It's what you use every time you download music. Data. It's what streams movies. Data. It's what the banks use to check your account. Data. It's the very lifeblood of modern living. Data. And where does it all come from? Well, according to industry sources, more and more of it came from here. They acknowledge that Glow is now the largest data network in Nigeria. With your own Glow One submarine cable linked seamlessly to tens of thousands of kilometers with your own fiber optic cable. Glow can provide huge data capacity anywhere at a more flexible and affordable price than anyone. It's simple. So you see, Glow is in the air. It's everywhere.
Data is oxygen. Get 125% bonus on all data plans. Also enjoy unconditional 25% data bonus non-stop on all auto renewals. Dial *777# to choose a plan.
Now you can make clean money and develop Nigeria at the same time. Oh yes, playing the lottery is another way of contributing to national development. Other nations did, so can we. And hey, for those who may have cultural or religious concerns, proceeds from lottery all over the world is used for development purposes, while winners get winnings. Also, if you played the lottery and did not receive your claims or winnings, report to the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Protection of players, transparency and accountability are part of the reasons the commission exists. So grow yourself and grow Nigeria. For more on how you are protected, go to our website, natlotregcom.gov.ng. The National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Lottery the right way.
But the excitement is still on. Draw what you did in your holidays and you stand a chance to win your dream holiday. Follow 3 simple steps to enter. Step 1, draw your holiday experience. Step 2, snap a picture. Step 3, send picture, name and address to the WhatsApp number 0902-588-8888. Hurry! Go grab your Indomie packs now. Offer valid till stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Indomie noodles. Tasty nutrition. Good for you.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Nigeria we hail.
Those who divide our people are getting better at their game. Yet, now we did do ourselves pass. Lecturer, they oppress student them. Bus driver, they show passenger where. Local government people are terrifying local government people. Campaign people will come and go. Grammar people will remain. So now, many people have become Uncle Thomases, unwilling to desire or work for a better nation. We must continue to push and believe, and small, our prayers will be answered. This education you go get down. These children, them go grow and prosper. And this business, it not go spoil for your hand, because Union Bank understands what it means to push through challenges, and together we go clear every doubt when they are our way. Don't be an Uncle Thomas. Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
Pitching the big idea. It doesn't come easy. You've got to give it all you've got. That's right. You got to put in the hours. Roll with the punches and take on the pressure. But you will power through, no matter what. Then step onto that stage and hit them with that idea. You, my friend, are unstoppable. Power Horse. Unstoppable you.
Thank you for rejoining us. This is NTA News Extra on the network service of the NTA. The 3 tiers of government have received 788 billion naira as revenue accrued interest for the month of October. This is coming as the National Council on Finance and Economic Development, NACOFED, ends in Kaduna. Let's join Leah Katumbaba today for the details.
October saw an increase in statutory revenue to the tune of 112.88 billion naira, occasioned by an increase in crude oil export sales, which drove the rise in revenue by $54.19 million. Given the breakdown of revenue accrued in the month of October and its distribution, Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, said the Treasury also recorded increases in petroleum profit tax, value-added tax, company income tax, and excise duties.
The distribution is as follows. Total gross revenue statutorily is 682.161, while VAT, as I mentioned, is 105.172. There is an exchange gain of 0.806 billion.
Excess crude account now stands at $2.319 billion and excess petroleum profit tax $133 million as at November 27, 2018. The monthly Federation Accounts Allocation Committee meeting marks the end of the National Council on Finance and Economic Development. In Kaduna, I'm Leah Katingbaba today, NTA News.
Let me hand you over to Abalade Salami in our Lagos studio for business news. Take it away, Abalade.
And welcome to Business News segment. A national discourse on good governance is canvassing for the adoption of internal audits in Nigeria as an effective tool for eradicating corruption. At the forum in Lagos, participants agreed that preventing corruption is key to achieving good governance. They expressed their readiness to support the government in its fight against corruption.
Despite the numerous legislative approaches and the involvement of law enforcement agencies in the anti-corruption crusade, there is still a lot of battles to be fought against the malice in supporting the fight against corruption in the country and promotion of good corporate governance in Nigeria.
The current administration introduced the concept of PICA. PICA is an acronym for Presidential Initiative on Continuous Audit. Besides, there is the idea in our procurement policy called CETA. All these are efforts to nip corruption in the bud.
Vice President of the World Bank, Aruma Ote, has challenged youth to explore enormous resources in Africa to create jobs. In an interview, Aruma Ote emphasized the need for small and medium-scale enterprises to have access to capital.
And we're able to provide young people entrepreneurial opportunities. They will create jobs. And therefore, one area is to make sure that we broaden economic participation, that capital is more easily available, that we have an ecosystem that starts with venture capital through to listing on an exchange, that we have a private equity market that is very well developed. So the possibilities are enormous.
Let's now join Nina Nerot-Musa for details of stock market reports.
Welcome to Stock Market Report. Trading closed midweek in the red, depreciating by 0.48%, with an all-share index of 31,023.47 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 11.32 trillion, valued at 2.7 billion naira, with a volume of shares worth 220 million, which exchanged hands in 3,252 deals. NSE all-share index dropped by 1.59% week to date as the banking sector, consumer goods, industrial goods, and oil and gas sectors closed at 0.17%, 0.08%, 0.42%, and 0.51% respectively. On the gainers list, Stanbic, PZ, and Guarantee topped the table, while Dangote Cement, Nigeria Breweries, and Zenith Bank led on the losers chart. That concludes Stock Market Report. Back to you, Abolade.
Thank you, Nina. It's over to you, Halima, for the continuation of the news.
Thank you, Abolade. Now, despite the fact that Nigeria is producing large amount of honey annually, the country's name is nowhere to be found in the world honey market. Saddening, don't you think? Well, the good news is that the European Union, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture are collaborating towards unlocking the obstacles affecting Nigeria's honey trade. Musa Baba Aliyu will tell us how.
The current production of honey in Nigeria is put at more than 3 million litres annually, even though the country has the potential to produce 20 million litres annually. The challenge stakeholders posit is the country's inability to have a stake in the global honey business. And what could be the possible reasons?
Is the issue of the tariff. In order for you to export honey to the EU market, it's currently subject to duties of as high as 17.5%. And this is because Nigeria does not have a trade agreement with the European Union.
And if we get it right, I mean with the right policies, with food safety issues addressed and the residue monitoring plan in place, I mean we're good to go. And it's going to be good business for the beekeepers.
To make the list of global honey producers, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, with the support of Food and Agriculture Organization, is empowering beekeepers towards upscaling honey production.
We are looking at livelihoods. We are looking at issues of nutrition, well-being of the individual. We are looking at issues of poverty alleviation. We are looking at issues of zero hunger.
We will continue to support the department as well as the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, technically and financially.
In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, do you know that rice cultivation in Nigeria is going through interesting times? Well, the federal government's ban on the importation of rice fired up a zeal hitherto not observed. Local cultivation scaled up, more land and more people are brought into the mainstream of rice cultivation. A new spirit has overtaken farmers nationwide to satisfy local demand and farm rice for market. Hamis Rogo in Kano has a report on how the new rice policy creates massive farm activities and livelihood.
Kano State is a vast rice field. It is so beautiful. It always leaves you with the echoing images. At this time of the year, the fields are a rich montage of post-harvest activities. It is one of the infinite blessings of rice cultivation in Kano that even after harvest, people find livelihoods. There are still pictures of pockets of actual rice harvesting going on. It is true, through the Central Bank of Nigeria's Anko Barowa program, Rice farmers in Kano have timely access to major farm inputs, including seeds and fertilizer, which actually boost production, but they are short in mechanization. That apart, Kano is endowed with multiple river and dam systems that guarantees all year-round agriculture.
Cultivate about 120,000 hectares. You can multiply that. You are talking of over about 480,000 metric tons of paddy rice. Of paddy rice in the wet season alone. Plus another maybe 40,000 hectares in the dry season.
Perhaps the biggest effect of the ban on importation of rice in Nigeria is the emergence of real-time processors who bridge the import gap with the quality, price, and taste. In Kano, the pyramids are back again. Paddy rice is now shaping up the warehouses, and this is not paddy for export. It is paddy for local processing to markets across Nigeria and to neighboring states.
At the moment, we are just producing, I think, about 60–65% of the total requirement of Nigeria rice. So that is why I said in the next 2 years, the way the farmers are being encouraged, the way the millers are buying the rice from the paddy from the farmers, if it is sustained, I can guarantee you maximum 2 years Nigeria can start exporting rice.
Every day, over 100 trailer loads of paddy rice empty their cargo here. They are even short of demand.
Yes, paddy, last year we bought paddy was about 5.2 billion naira, and our target is to buy paddy for, was 7 billion naira this year.
Despite their volume of intake, these rice processing companies across Nigeria feel that they cannot fully satisfy the national demand for rice for now. It is heartwarming to see local production of rice is supported by modern processing methods. To think of market for the farmers, trailer operators, laborers who offer various interventions at various stages of the processing activities. A whole new life is created for hundreds of thousands of people nationwide by the action of a single government policy, no to rice import. In Kano, Mohammed Hamis Rogo, NTA News.
Well, that is Rogo at large, or do we say Rogo at rice? Talking about dreams, anybody can dream dreams. Dreams are no respecter of party affiliations, and so whether APC or PDP, the dream of good governance and provision of needed infrastructure is a common goal. That is why this shared goal is manifesting in Delta State, where the PDP-controlled state government is keying into the APC federal government's development initiatives. Tessie Coker says this has led to employment generation, financial independence of youths, and to a large extent, the stemming of youth restiveness. Now, Tessie, what exactly are you talking about?
One of the three main thrusts of President Buhari-led administration is economic recovery. This agenda led to many reforms and transformations, especially in the agricultural sector. With a disturbing report by the Central Bank of Nigeria governor that the country has spent $2.4 billion on rice importation alone between 2012 and 2015. A rice revolution became imperative. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture then embarked on massive sensitization of Nigerians on increasing the quantity and improving quality of local rice production. Taking a cue from the federal government, Delta State, through its Job Creation Office, set up large hectares of rice farms in some parts of the state, which include Ugileama, Mbiri, and others. The cherry news is that the state agricultural program is yielding tremendous results.
There is time for everything. There's a seed time, there's a harvest time. So I want to announce to you that it is harvest time. Because it's a harvest time, today is going to be a harvest day. Yes. As we are talking to you here, His Excellency is also very happy.
This means that Delta State can now compete favorably with other states like Lagos, Kebbi, and others in local rice production.
All you need to do is to put in a lot of commitment through hard work
sustain yourself.
So far, a total number of 757 previously unemployed youths have been trained, established and mentored in agricultural enterprises in Asaba, Tesi, Koka, NTA News.
Now, the winner of Most Innovative Marble Company of the Year award at the 2018 Nigerian Housing Awards, Royal Engineered Stories Limited, has launched its new product, Royal Marble, in Abuja. Miriam Akpata has the details.
Gathered here are stakeholders in the building industry brought together by Engineered Stone Limited, a brand of West African Ceramics Limited, to witness the launch of their newest product, Royal Marble, an indigenous brand manufactured in Nigeria by Nigerians. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, is excited as he explains the enormous job opportunities the production of this product will bring to Nigerians.
What we are witnessing is a product that is 60% less than the imported product.
We have brought foreign expatriates from Italy and China to train our Nigerian youths who are working in our factories to be able to produce these things, these marbles, up to standards.
Over 3 decades since it made a debut in ceramics tiles and sanitary ware production, the Royal brand, no doubt, has become a phenomenon in the lives of stakeholders in the building industry, as it has consistently set and defined standards by making the product a must in the competitive market. In Abuja, Miriam Akpata, NTA News.
Apapa gridlock, when will it end? And at what cost to Lagosians? That's the outlook when we return after the break.
Nigeria, there is one sound we need to silence. So let's silence toothache before it starts with Oral-B All-Round Protection. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because the only sound we really want to hear is that of our future. For healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
Your perfect family is under threat by germs. Infectious diseases are now the world's biggest killer of adults and children. Every day, 16,000 children under the ages of 5 and thousands of adults die from infectious diseases. These infectious diseases are caused by germs. They are everywhere. An average human being comes in contact with over 1 million germs daily. On clean water, dirty surfaces, in the toilets, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes. Germs can cause deadly diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, flu, and cough. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's One Capful for surface cleaning in your bathing water, in your laundry water, for first aid to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol Sure, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Use Dettol Skin Jelly, which protects against germs for a healthy, smooth skin every day.
This festive season, there's no place like home. Get a GoTV decoder and GoTenna and 1 month of GoTV Max subscription for only 6,900 Naira. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Nigeria, a land of promise,
land of potential, rich in oil, arable land, and solid minerals. Yet, hunger, joblessness, homelessness, and poverty are widespread. Over the years, Nigeria has suffered from hospitals without drugs, schools without teachers, and a huge infrastructure deficit. Clearly, we are yet to reach our full potential. And one of the reasons is because people choose bad leaders. Some even sell their conscience for a few thousand naira. For 2019 elections, don't sell your vote. Don't sell your future. Don't buy the people's lives. Vote selling is a crime against yourself. You will spend the next 4 years paying for it. Vote buying is against the law. Politicians, stop buying votes. People, stop selling your future. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
My name is Lukman Animashang. I'm a former worker of ex-Nigeria Airways Limited. In 2004, former President Obasanjo liquidated the airline, and since then we've been waiting for our benefits. But in 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari came in, he promised to pay us, and today I'm happy that 5,996 members of ex-workers of Nigeria Airways are receiving their money. I'm also a beneficiary. The good thing about what President Buhari did is that he promised that the over 800 people that died in the process of waiting for this money, their next of kin will be paid. And as I'm talking to you, they have been paid.
It's good to know that you're still out there watching News Extra. Now, statistics from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry indicates that Nigeria loses 20 billion naira daily to the phenomenon of gridlock along Apapa Road in Lagos. The consequences are that some people have abandoned their businesses while others have been thrown out of business. Dotun Ogunyemi continues the story from here.
Akim Alao is a vulcanizer who has been in this business and on this location in the last 10 years.
For a day, sometimes they make maybe 5,000 or 6,000. For now, I don't go live for to make 1,000 Ghana sufferness.
Akim is not alone. Importers and exporters also have stories to tell.
Before now, at least we are doing 2 trips per day at times. But now, getting to a month now, our truck cannot carry only one load outside.
Statistics from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry indicates that 3.6 trillion naira in non-oil exports, as well as 2.5 trillion naira corporate earnings, is lost due to the Apapa gridlock. The critical question is, how long shall this continue? Is it attitudinal? Is it infrastructure? There are so many questions. The Joint Task Force set up by the federal government has made attempts to prefer solutions.
You know, we have to keep fine-tuning, we have to keep trying to do things in a way that the output will be more effective.
There are other suggestions on the way forward. Dr. Isa Momo is of the opinion that diverting traffic to other seaports will bring economic relief to Apapa.
To enforce the port reforms that were proposed all this time, then special budgeting allocation should be done to see that the economy moves.
The Apapa gridlock is a case of the popular saying, one man's meat is another man's poison. While motorists and businesses are suffering, commercial motorcycle operators are smiling home daily with huge sums.
For some of the Okada riders who ply the Apapa route on a daily basis, business is good, as they make as much as 3,000 to 4,000 naira profit.
Now because of this road, the time when road is not there now, but what is there?
Yeah, sometimes we are making 3,000, sometimes we are making 4,000 naira a day.
Finding a lasting solution to this problem, observers say, has become everyone's responsibility. In Lagos, Dotson Ogmiemi, NTA News.
Now moving on to infrastructural development. I earlier told you what governance is all about. The provision of the good things that make life worth living. This definitely includes development, provision of infrastructure like roads, housing, power, schools, and so on. Now, you have suffered the frustration of traveling on bad roads. You will understand the feeling of the people of Abuja in Cross River State, who say they're enjoying a new lease of life, courtesy the Buhari administration, as the only road linking the entire Cross River State to the northern part of the country, hitherto impassable, has now been rehabilitated. But trust them, like over liver twist, they are asking for more. Oba Hyacinth will tell us all about this dividend of democracy.
Construction, which has eased vehicular movement, reduced the time spent, as well as other forms of hazard, is being addressed.
Government is trying. From Ecom to Cape right now, there's no pothole, there's not everywhere is perfect. No, from when Sabates have started the job up to this point, they are trying. But the problem we are facing now is from Ugeb now to Calabar.
Before now, the road has been so bad that from here to Ecom, it will take you like 4 hours to even get to Ecom. Since this administration came into power and this road has been constructed, in fact, it brings at least to everybody, understand?
The project agent of Sematec, Desmond said the 67-kilometer Alesi-Ugeb road, which spanned from Yamoyong to Akbet, was awarded in 2015 and is being funded by President Buhari administration.
45 kilometers, the 2 layers. The first one is called Finder Course, is 60 mm thickness. We have done that. The remaining wearing course to make it 45 kilometers, we completed it last week. Okay. So from Yamoyong to Ediba Junction, Ugeb, you have 45 kilometers of those 2 layers.
Crossivarians and Nigerians, while appreciating the good work done by the Federal Ministry, are appealing for the funding of the remaining part of the road to ease other hardship faced while plying the road and boost economic activity. In Ogoja, Oba Hyacinth, NTA News.
Interagency collaboration has been identified as strategic towards achieving government's drive of providing affordable mortgages to Nigerian workers, especially low and medium income earners. This was at the presentation of checks to staff of the Federal Road Safety Corps by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria under the Home Renovation Loan Window. Ado Adamu also was there. And now,
in line with the government's effort to achieve the National Affordable Housing Delivery Program, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is calling for collaboration from stakeholders. The purpose of the home renovation loan, the bank says, is to develop some quick wins that will allow greater number of Nigerians access the National Housing Fund.
Compared to regular mortgage, the requirement for this loan has been made very liberal. This includes signing of memorandum of understanding and the execution of letters undertaken by the various state governments, collaboration agencies, either federal or state, and employers.
The Federal Road Safety Corps applauded the initiative while expressing readiness to continue collaborating with the bank in the overall interest of its personnel's welfare.
It's been a wonderful experience with Federal Mortgage Bank. We know how to tap from it. We have our sincerity, we have our integrity, and the honesty in the repayment services.
For the beneficiaries, it is a dream come true.
I'm very excited. I'm happy about it.
I want to thank the management of Federal Mortgage Bank and also the management of Federal Road Safety Corps.
Checks amounting to 640 million naira were presented to 640 beneficiaries. This brings total disbursement to the Federal Road Safety Corps to 1.2 billion naira with 1,207 beneficiaries.
The federal government desire to ensure that every staff is given a befitting accommodation to put his own best in service is being realized here with the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria collaborating with the Federal Road Safety Corps in Abuja. Ado Adamu also, NTA News.
In part 4 of News Extra, we'll tell you about the day 2 of the Nigerian call to bar. That's plus the billions of naira Nigeria lost in one oil deal. Stay.
Challenge can stop us, oh Lord, and we are the brightest. No darkness can blind us. We are the strongest.
Malta Guinness is packed with B vitamins to fuel your greatness.
It's an African one. Yeah. Whether you come here to break dance, you come here to shake hands, you come here to make plans.
This festive season, there's no place like home. Get a GoTV decoder and GoTenna and 1 month of GoTV Max subscription for only 6,900 Naira. GoTV. Live it, love it.
2019 elections are coming. Do not let yourselves be used by politicians. Do not allow your emotions go haywire. Do not be a tool to cause mayhem. No election matter is worth the destruction of lives and properties. Be wise. Don't be a violent Nigerian youth. Don't get involved in any act of violence. Your future is at stake. Shun violence during elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Thank you for joining us on News Extra. The Council for Legal Education says it has been carrying out its mandate without giving room for compromise of its standards. This came through the chairman of the body of benchers, Bashir Al-Hatu, at the call to bar ceremony of new entrants into the legal profession. Omenka Omarachuku completes the report.
With a total of 4,779 new weeks presented for call to bar, chairman body of benchers, Bashiru Dahatu, called on the new weeks to demonstrate the highest level of professional ethics in their conduct.
As for the first time in the history of our nation, 161 students of the Nigerian Law School graduated with the first class degree. The bottom line is we should have a system of law teaching and practice which is up to the standard and which we are all proud of and can be defended at any given point.
The Nigerian Law School has embarked on aggressive review of its curriculum, including teaching of ethics, legal writing, teaching methodology, as well as methods of general assessment of students.
These lawyers have distinguished themselves in both character and learning and are now looking forward to serve their fatherland.
Having passed through the University of Ibadan and Nigerian Law School, I'm very happy this day I'm called to bar. And hopefully, I hope to use this call to bar certificate, to achieve justice in Nigeria and to fight human rights abuses.
As I'm called to the bar, I hope that we will be able to perform our duty with honesty and integrity by taking care of people's rights and liabilities and ensuring that the justice is upheld.
Right now, my dreams have come true, finally being called to the bar, and well, it's now for me to just get to work.
The Nigerian Law School has so far graduated 123,218 lawyers since its inception in 1962. In Abuja, Umenka Marchuku, NTA News.
Nigeria lost more than an estimated $6 billion to the controversial deep water block oil prospecting license 245, otherwise known as the Malabu deal. The chairman House Committee on Financial Crimes, Kayode Oladele, says the country lost more than $9 billion to the deal. Olayinka Ojo has more on that report.
The expert report revealed the unfortunate management of our affairs.
Based on expert analysis reports contained in the resolution agreements regarding the oil prospecting license OPL 245, popularly known as Malabo deal, which was signed in April 2011, and the production sharing agreement signed between Eni and Shell in February 2012, projected resources output upon which the subsisting agreement was based is said to be inconsistent with established industry standards. And because of new discoveries on the OPL 245, these stakeholders believe building public ownership for transparency and accountability in governance and service delivery is key.
An example drawn from the report says the almost $6 billion estimated to be lost can fund the health and education budget for 2 years.
No stone should be left unturned in ensuring that resources are recovered.
Chairman House Committee on Financial Crimes, Kayode Oladele, reiterated that the National Assembly will ensure justice for victims of the alleged unfavorable contractual agreement.
As a nation and as a people, we must also do our best to ensure that we project the integrity of this nation and also do everything possible to protect the rights of the citizens of Nigeria.
The consensus on the Malabo oil and gas issue is that Nigeria has been shortchanged and justice must prevail. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
African leaders celebrate Kofi Annan. How, you may ask? We'll tell you about this after these messages. Stay with us.
Celebrate with Rio Ferdinand at a live game. Plus, win millions of instant prizes. Text code to 1759.
Welcome back. Towards advancing the cause of celebrating growth in Africa, a group of past leaders in the continent converged on Abuja, Ogun State, to seek strong partnership in advancing Africa's interest. Lukman Adefeso reports that former President of Italy, Romano Prodi, joined other leaders to pay tribute to late Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General. Lukman's report is here presented.
It was a convergence of eminent former and serving political, public and private sector leaders from Africa and friends of Africa across the world. The forum celebrated late Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, paying glowing tribute to the man described as a bridge builder and peacemaker.
The Secretary General of the United Nations Organization and former chair of the Africa Progress Party was one of those amazing individuals who have raised this country. Gentle, compassionate, Kofi Annan observed and dedicated his energy and time fully to maintaining world peace. Throughout his spectacular life,
he represented integrity, he represented dignity, he represented excellence, he represented unity. He combined passion with self-discipline.
He really brought peace to the world, and at the end he was recognized by winning the Nobel Peace Prize together with the United Nations.
We're seeking strong partnerships to support Africa's development for accelerated growth through governance and development of infrastructure. The former Africa Progress Plan, chaired by late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, has now been inaugurated at the forum in Abuja as Africa Progress Group.
Under the leadership of Kofi Annan, this whole thing became an eminently
In my presence, his attachment to the tradition, his advocacy of human rights, respect for the rule of law, and the principle of democratic accountability was the very essence of that tradition.
The group says it is out to pursue Africa's agenda.
And for a bit on sports, Tamara Ibiwe is standing by with sports update.
President, Cycling Federation of Nigeria, Gian Domenico Massari, has expressed appreciation over the decision of the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to evacuate the stoves stored in the Abuja National Stadium's velodrome to make it available for cycling activities. He said the decision will help develop the sport in the country, as it has deprived cyclists the opportunity to use the velodrome for the past 16 years.
The velodrome is the best, infrastructure in Africa as such for doing that type of sport, track cycling, and at the same time is one of the best in the world.
Team Police Force have won the women's basketball event of the ongoing second Ministry of Interior Games in Kaduna after beating their team immigration counterparts 62 to 32 points in the final.
The death has been announced of Mama Modupe Odumusu, who died on the 19th of September at the age of 89 years. Funeral arrangements by the family indicate that there will be a Christian wake and funeral service at the Church of the Ascension, Omodara Street, Okpe, Bikeja, on Thursday, the 29th. While interment follows immediately at Aton Cemetery, Yaba, on Friday, the 30th. Late Mama Modupe is survived by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, among whom is Olufemi Odumosu, Managing Director, Ogunoshun Basin Development Authority. Well, that's how far we can go on News Extra tonight. It was a pleasure bringing the program to you. Let's do this again. Same time, same station next week. Until then, it's bye for now. I remain yours, Fatima Abbas Hassan.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as Minister of the Government of the Federation, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It is now 3 years down the line since he took the mantle of leadership in the science, technology and innovation sector as the Honorable Minister. Having diligently served within this period as the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbunayonu has led the ministry in every effort to reposition and strengthen the role of science, technology and innovation as a catalyst that can help Nigeria chart a new course of prosperity and self-sufficiency, anchored on sustainable economic diversification. He acknowledges that in the past 3 years, the ministry has drawn strength from the conviction that no country has ever become great without placing emphasis on science, technology and innovation, and also found even far greater courage from the challenges which our old ways of thinking have placed on our shoulders.
We were conscious of the fact that in the past, Nigeria did not pay sufficient attention to science and technology. Even the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, which should coordinate and drive science and technology activities in the country, was before now treated as if the nation did not know what to do with it. It was in 1980, 20 years after independence, that the Ministry of Science and Technology, a very strategic ministry for that matter, was established.
Adequate funding of the sector has continued to pose a big challenge, although with some improvement at the instance of the APC-led federal government of President Muhammadu Buhari. Dr. Ogbunayonu expressed concern that even the policy framework that should drive science and technology in the country, that is, the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, NSTIP, which came into existence in 1986, could not be fully implemented, since the lead organ to drive it, the National Research and Innovation Council, took as long as 30 years to hold its first meeting under the coordination of the present administration.
In the past 3 years, I continue to stress that Nigeria cannot be backward or underdeveloped with all the human, natural, and material resources at her disposal. If we cannot feed or provide our basic needs as a nation, we cannot be said to be truly independent. I am convinced that science, technology, and innovation is the link we need to bridge this gap. Science and technology is the way to go. No nation has ever become great without finding new ways of doing things to meet the increased yearnings of its citizens.
And now, coming with the mindset that science, technology and innovation is about setting and achieving national goals by Nigerians themselves, as well as doing things to the best ability for the growth and development of Nigerians and the nation. The ministry, under the watch of Dr. Ogbunayonu, has succeeded in putting several policies in place to refocus the country on the power of science and technology for self-reliance of sustainable national development. On this note, the minister on several occasions has traveled to speak to young Nigerians in both the primary and secondary schools, urging them to show greater interest in the study of science and technology, and also encourage traditional rulers to appeal to the young people to acknowledge the power of exploring the potential therein for the economic development of the country.
These were the remarkable achievements of our past. Rather, unfortunately, we seem to have been unable to consolidate on the gains of our past heritage. This has injured our capacity to dream and have enduring vision, thereby slowing down our search and our march to technological development and advancement.
It is worthy of note that already there are encouraging signs that the ministry's efforts are yielding the desired results. The minister affirms that the number of registered patents through the assistance of the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP, rose from 6 in 2015 to 16 in 2016 and as high as 50 in 2017. And he expresses assurances that this year records an exceeding data above that of last year, being a clear evidence that Nigeria is on a steady march towards promoting research, thereby stimulating greater improvement in the level of innovation in the country.
To strengthen the gains of the increased awareness of Nigerians on the application of science and technology to economic growth, we have initiated steps that will further help Nigeria confront and defeat the challenges pose to our economy by increasing shifts in global production and trade patterns. Accordingly, we have initiated a novel national strategy for competitiveness in raw materials and product development in Nigeria. It is a landmark effort that will enable Nigeria conserve scarce foreign exchange by stimulating global competitiveness of our raw materials, thereby helping us build domestic capacity in our envisaged diversified economy. It is essentially aimed at enforcing national capacity to produce globally acceptable quality raw materials, products, and services. It is projected that this will enable Nigeria, our dear country, save as much as 3.6 trillion naira. Also create about 4.4 million jobs within the first 5 years of its effective implementation.
Another milestone achieved by this administration is a course to further deepen and strengthen the capacity for Nigerian professionals to become more active players in Nigeria's sustainable economic development process. And this came with the president earlier this year signing the revolutionary Presidential Executive Order No. 5 for the planning and execution of projects, programs and contracts with science, engineering and technology components.
Already, we have commenced sensitization visits within and outside the country to inform Nigerians on the importance of this order. The aim is to further encourage them to take full advantage of the opportunities offered by this order. The impact of this executive order will take many years to be fully appreciated. The important thing is that we have started as a conscious effort for science and technology to impact on virtually all aspects of our national life. I am happy to inform you that the high-density nutrient biscuit formulated for our children by the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, in collaboration with NASCO Foods Limited, JOS, is already in the market. It is our contribution to complement the laudable objectives of the school feeding program of the federal government. This will enhance our resolve to strengthen the nutritional requirements of our children to enable them grow into responsible citizens who can make significant contributions to national development. In the health sector, we have initiated bold steps in the management of sickle cell anemia. The Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, in collaboration with May and Becker Pharmaceuticals Limited, have produced new therapeutic food supplements, which is a new approach to manage the disease. This food supplement, if properly used, will prevent patients from going into crisis situations.
FIRO, another agency under the ministry, recorded another milestone in achieving its vision of becoming the foremost center of excellence in science and technology-based research and development for the industrialization and socio-economic advancement of the nation, as the institute was presented ISO 17025-2005 certificate for accreditation of its central laboratory. Attaining the ISO 17025-2005 certification, the minister said, is indeed a major achievement in national quest for quality services and excellent delivery of services, and a step in the right direction for FIRO to becoming leading research institute in Nigeria and globally. And FIRO is the first public sector that would receive such accreditation in Nigeria. In information and communication technology, he says, the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure has reached advanced stage on the local production of solar-powered electronic voting machine with cloud-based collection of election results capability to enhance e-voting in Nigeria and help ensure the conduct of free, fair and credible elections.
In the industrial sector, we have recently put in place a leather products policy for Nigeria, the first of its kind since our independence in 1960. This will promote leather technology and help quicken Nigeria's industrialization process. It will strengthen our capacity to convert our rich agricultural products into viable goods and services for both domestic consumption and export. Many of the agencies under the supervision of the ministry are working closely with our armed forces. We are determined to help solve some of the problems and overcome some of the challenges confronting our armed forces. Nigeria deserves a strong military. This can only happen when we depend more on ourselves.
In the agricultural sector, the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, working with other research institutes, have successfully deployed genetic engineering techniques in the production of 2 varieties of BT cotton that are high-yielding and resistant to bollworm, a major breakthrough to revive the textile industry.
To further help Nigeria check the danger of flooding, a flood monitoring system has been developed by our space agency that will help in monitoring real-time groundwater level as a way of checking the incidence of flood occurrence. Satellite images from our space agency have also been employed by various states of the Federation and NEMA in particular in disaster management across the country. In the area of job creation, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology achieved a lot. The National Board for Technology Incubation has helped grow new entrepreneurs who started as micro and small-scale enterprises throughout the country. Our National Board for Technology Incubation has branches in 33 states, and it is our intention to make sure that the remaining 3 states are covered. And they have done a lot in growing entrepreneurs, people who now are in a position to employ others, because that is how employment opportunities can be created in any nation. Over time, these enterprises have grown in size, leading to additional job creation. Also, many of the agencies under the supervision of the ministry, such as, again, MBTI, NILEST, that is the Leather Institute, NILES, the Lab Science Technology in Ibadan, FIRO, we have talked of FIRO in Oshodi, NACETEM in charge of management of technology, Natural Medicine, NNMDA, NASENI, PRODA, NASDA, the space agency, NIBRI, our building research, roads and research institute, and so on. Indeed, almost all our agencies carry out training programs where capacity building through skill acquisition are regularly carried out. We have had and we've tried to encourage them to do more in this area. And it's a pity many people don't even appreciate this very important contribution that the Ministry of Science and Technology is making to job creation. And really, for you to create high-quality jobs, you will need some element of science and technology. We have had in the past a sad situation in our dear country where we relied almost entirely on foreigners. Many of them came from our neighboring countries to carry out finishing of our houses. When you start building, you get up to roofing your house. When it comes to finishing, in the past, you need to go outside to get those with the appropriate skills to help you finish those houses. Nigerians are now being trained in the zonal headquarters of NIBRI in Lagos. I commissioned that project in Lagos, and we intend to make sure that this training program will be carried out in other zonal headquarters of NIBRI. The training covers all needed skills for house and road construction or building. We can use the word building because building is more important because building will cover everything. And this NIBRI is a National Building Road Research Institute. So it's clearly in their mandate. We are using science, technology, and innovation. So this is something that is already going on, and we are expanding on it. We are using science, technology, and innovation to create jobs for our people. We will intensify this effort in the future. In the area of petroleum resources, we have started work in fingerprinting of our crude oil. This will drastically reduce the theft of our crude oil. What is this fingerprinting? This is giving identity. Just as all of us here, yes, we are men and women, but we have different names. Even if two of the names are similar, maybe the third one will be different. So we are using technology, science and technology, to fingerprint our crude oil so that any crude oil that is produced in Nigeria, wherever you take it to, it will be easy to identify that this crude oil is coming from Nigeria. So once people know that we have that capacity, nobody will steal our crude oil. Because if you take it, you go to any part of the world, all we need is just to send people there. They take a small sample and analyze, and then they will tell you whether it's a Nigerian crude. This is at its preliminary stage, but we are determined to make sure that the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology makes this very important contribution to the economy of our nation. Because for now, we still rely on crude oil. And it is sad when people say that we don't even know the quantity that is being produced. That is what people say. That definitely may not be true, but we need to use technology to make sure that we know the quantity that we produce and that any element of theft will be checked and prevented. Also, the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, we are working with the NNPC, our National Petroleum Corporation, to introduce methanol into our fuel system for use in both transportation and power generation. This will lead to reduction in the costs of fuel, among many other advantages.
Dr. Ogbonayono believes that Nigeria is on the right path to success and that Nigerians should consolidate on the gains of yesterday by building a new Nigeria civilization that the world will benefit from.
I am confident that science and technology will become the key that will open Nigeria's door for a truly great nation. This will reposition Nigeria for the challenges of a post-crude oil era. We should never forget, no commodity has ever come and remained very important forever, not one. Not one.
And already many countries are predicting a post-crude oil era. And the argument we have in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology is that, assuming if there is no prediction of such an era, and we continue to grow our population, it's estimated that by 2050, if we grow at this rate, we should be about 450 million people. That is the estimate. By the turn of the century, in 82 years' time, we should be about 1 billion. Now, there will be a time when we will be using all the crude oil that we produce locally, so we can't export again. So we must prepare. It is important, absolutely important. There are many countries today that used to export crude oil that no longer exports crude oil because they are consuming all that they produce. So this is why it is very important for this ministry to help Nigeria to prepare for a post-crude oil era, which is inevitable. But when it will come, we can't predict, but it's inevitable. But we must start preparing for it, as much as we can. This is important. All that I've said to you is very important because Section 18, subsection 2 of our 1999 Constitution, as amended, clearly states that science and technology should be promoted in the country. It is there in our Constitution. And that Constitution went further in Section 13 to say that the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary must do everything to implement, this in Chapter 2. That's what Section 13 clearly states. I am convinced that we are on the right road to success. If we can change our thinking and now decide to use the knowledge of our people, because we have about the most intelligent people in the world. If we can use the knowledge of our people to add value to these raw materials, which other countries come here to take, then they go home and add nothing more than science and technology and bring it back to us at very high cost. But why can't we do it ourselves? We should be able to ensure that we convert the enormous resources, material resources we have in our country, into the products and services that we need. When we do so, we won't be saying that we can't employ our people. There will be enough jobs when that happens. And we will be in a position then to create a very dynamic and prosperous middle class, which is important. And that is how you are going to fight and defeat extreme poverty. So many things are the benefits of this effort. And this journey, we shouldn't say or worry that this should have taken place by 1960 when we became independent, as many other countries did, as South Korea did. And you can see where they are today. Our phones are from there. And so many things that we use come from there. Even some people use their cars. But we were at a higher level than them in the 1960s. Look at India. India is a space power, is a nuclear power. But all of us know the position that India was at. But all these countries that I mentioned, Singapore, immediately at independence, they paid special attention to science and technology. But for me, we shouldn't worry about the past. The important thing is that the journey has started. We have seen that this is important, that we can no longer ignore science and technology. We can no longer continue to depend just on our commodities. We just cannot, because we have seen that it's not helping us. So if we agree and take this decision as a nation, then, it doesn't matter. So I know that this is a journey of about 40 years, 50 years, but it doesn't matter.
NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. You can watch NTA Parliament on NTA StarTimes DDT platform. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
The West African Currency Board was responsible for issuing currency notes in Nigeria from 1912 to 1959. Prior to its establishment, Nigeria had used various forms of money, including cowries and manillas.
Here we have trade beads brought in by the Europeans when they first came into our shores to trade. And that's the original gin bottle also used in exchange of slaves. By the time the central bank was fully in operations, on 1st of July 1959, we started issuing the Nigerian pounds. As you can see, they all have different colors, shapes, and sizes. Further down, we have the 1968 currencies, which were printed in the Biafran region during the Civil War.
On 1st July 1959, the Central Bank of Nigeria issued the Nigerian currency notes and coins, while the West African Currency Board notes and coins were withdrawn. It was not until 1st July 1962 that legal tender status was changed to reflect the country's new status having gained independence. In 1967, the Nigerian pound note was introduced. It could buy 500 cups of gari. The notes were again changed in 1968 as a war strategy following the misuse of the country's currency notes. The change that took place in January 1973 was a major one, and this involved both currency notes and coins. The 20 Naira banknote became the first currency note in Nigeria. On July 1979, new currency notes of 3 denominations, 1 Naira, 5 Naira, and 10 Naira, were introduced with distinctive colors. In 1991, both the 50 kobo and 1 Naira notes were coined. Expansion in economic activities and to facilitate an efficient payment system, the 100 Naira was introduced in December 1999, 200 Naira in November 2000, 500 Naira in April 2001, and 1,000 Naira in October 2005. As part of economic reforms, 50 Naira, 20 Naira, 10 Naira and 5 Naira banknotes, as well as 1 Naira and 50 kobo coins were reissued with new designs on February 28, 2007, while a new 2 Naira coin was introduced.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hello there, this is People and Events. Glad to have you join us on the program. I am Glory Ekanem. Welcome. The 2018 International Arts and Crafts Expo may have come and gone, but the euphoria and impact will last long on the minds of artists, art enthusiasts, art entrepreneurs, and the international community. Oyinaya Kalu Oka Invest Report brings us the razzmatazz as well as its economic impact. Take a look.
About 30 countries, 36 states, the FCT, and more than 150 private exhibitors under one roof, all for the business of culture.
The sector is also a recession-proof sector as it recorded growth rates of 3.72% in 2016 and 4.72% in 2017.
But it is about time our governments at all levels to know that this is a sector that can set the country afire.
It was a melting pot showcasing arts and crafts with rich cultural heritage.
All part of our handicraft, Iranian handicraft, some of these handicrafts are famous in the world, like that Iranian carpet and some Iranian calligraphy and others.
It's very nice, and I think this is my first attempt. So we are looking forward for the next year also.
That all these are handmade by Nigerians, fully 100%. So what we do is to support them where materials are needed, etc. So today we have about 6 countries now asking us how can we partner. Without this exhibition, that window won't be open. So we are very proud that a new beginning for Nigerian arts and craft and in the creative industry is going to be a wonderful posture of exporting our product to other parts of the world.
Then came the business segment with the investment forum. Organizers of the Expo, the National Council for Arts and Culture, strategize on how Nigeria can tap into the $45 billion industry. That is one of the biggest employees in the informal sector.
This is where Nigeria's money lies. It lies in its art and culture. We are going to see a big boom. Nigeria cannot even withstand the boom that is coming.
We should cooperate and help each other. We forget about nepotism and so many things that divide us as a country so that we develop our economy together.
As it is said, business before pleasure, so the pleasure fell into place with tantalizing and colorful presentations. Folk dance from Haryana, a farming and wrestling community in India, was thrilling.
Cultural troupe came from a state called Haryana. It's in the northern part of India, and the state is surrounded 3 sides by the capital Delhi. And this dance performance is about the folk dance which they are performing for many, many years. And they get this education, this knowledge, and this dance forms from their forefathers. And this way, it's keep rolling with generations.
So it's like how many years now?
It's more than 1,500 years which they know. Maybe it's older than that. They have performed in almost all states in India. Like you are doing this National Council of Art and Culture is doing this INEC Expo. Likewise in Haryana, every year there's one annual function. We call it Suraj Kund Mela, in which more than 40 countries they participate in that. And this group is performing for the last 30 years since the first Suraj Kund Mela was held. Since then they are performing in that.
In fact, this is for the first time I see a truly international character coming into this expo. As you can see, that there is a troupe which has come from India, a 12-member troupe to perform to begin with at the INAC 2018, and they will be traveling to different cities in Nigeria. It is our belief that one of the important mediums through which we can connect and connect better is the medium of culture. And a country, Nigeria, which is so diverse, and India, which is also equally diverse, I think there's so many common traits that we can cash upon and build a relationship, further strengthen a relationship which is already very strong.
What has happened tonight is a beginning of a new relationship again. We're going to get a cultural group to also go to India very soon to have this kind of performance. You heard when they said it, they were performing in Kano, Abuja, Lagos, and I think one other city. That is to show that the Indians and Nigerians have some things in common, which we must capitalize on. Culture is the strongest tool to keep a people together.
So was the lovely presentation from Bangladesh.
One of my priorities had been to strengthen bilateral relations and to identify new areas of cooperation. And I can see that there are huge potentials which largely remains untapped, unutilized.
Well, the people of Bangladesh today showed a total sense of hospitality, sense of love, sense of appreciation. They've come with one of their best troops to Nigeria. They flew all of them in just for this program. I remain grateful to them. Like we said, the theme of this is networking Nigerian crafts to the whole world. So we are opening a new fiesta, a new window to celebrate and showcase the strength of our country. Now, the ordinary man on the street who is a creative person had an opportunity to chat, to interact, to network with other people of the world. One of my greatest joy is that some embassies who didn't participate were saying, wow, we didn't know it would be this great. That means next year, God's willing, we should have more countries participating.
The host country had a wonderful presentation.
It's a very nice event, and I'm glad that Nigeria is doing something like that. It's really interesting.
My goodness, I can see the culture and diversity. With splendid expression of their culture, I very much enjoy it.
Very nice outing, and the relationship we enjoy with India